Hello Adrien,
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me.
thank you for being present for us. Thank you for being an ambassador, and we are very happy to have you on board. So the idea of today is to keep our TV show, or I don't know how you call it, our ambassador show. We want to introduce to the community every people composing this B2 Lines and D2P ambassador community. So the idea is to know more about you today. Who are you, Adrien? What do you do in life? What's your link with Web3?
Sure. So how do I start? Well, first of all, I think before anything else, I'm an art lover, art collector, strong believer in Web3, and through my work as an investment banker helping scale-ups raise capital, I've been exposed to this industry and how much enthusiasm from the investing community there's been in it in the past few, let's say 1 to 2 years. And so very excited to be able to work with you guys, represent your project, and hopefully soon have the honor of having a very nice piece of art just like you in the back of my background this time.
You have seen it, yes. It's how we say in French, this is not a placement de produit. No, because yes, we are in the gallery here, and it's one of the physical prototype that we had printed. So nice. So art lover since always, or have you discovered, as a lot of people, art through the emergence and the advent of digital art and Web3, or how did you live this transition?
To be fair, I've been obviously much more interested in investing in art since the Web3 and NFT wave, but I've been looking at actual traditional physical art for quite some time. I guess my pet peeve is a specific gallery in Paris called Specimens, focusing on Japanese artists, which is, I guess, what got me started into it initially.
That's what is very interesting, is that we see that with this I like to call it a creative spring that we lived on during the COVID, etc. We had a double entry point: traditional art lover, discovering new ways and new mediums of making art and creating more generally, and on the other side, people who just entered like through NFT, digital art, new ways, and now that are interested and that are discovering, making their traditional art education. So I think that's a great way to gather everybody. So what is the place for you of technology in art? This eternal debate.
Well, frankly, I think it's the obvious continuation. It's just one medium above another. Some people consider art being collectible only if it's a pièce unique done by hand. In that case, you'd remove photography, you'd remove print screen, serigraphy from what you would consider proper art. And I guess all these digital artists that were kind of making infinitely replicable pieces of art on their computer can now, thanks to technology, thanks to blockchain and NFTs, be able to actually ascribe some value to their digital art and maybe even live from it beyond having to depend on contracts with companies that look for art for whatever commercial purpose.
Yeah, so interesting. So that brings the question of the place of the physical part, the physical experience with Web3 and digital art. What link do you see, or what would need to be the link, or not need to be the link between digital and physical?
I mean, that's a tough question. I think that the link between physical and digital, like you've done it through this 3D printing system, is probably the first step that we need for the broader art community or the broader mainstream, enthusiasts to get into the digital art space. Having, I guess, ascribing property to a digital object is still a bit of a hard concept to grasp, or at least to accept for a lot of people. So I think it's important for projects such as yours to kind of bridge this gap, kind of be this in between, so that maybe in the years to come, people are more and more accustomed to digital ownership and can kind of move away from purely physical towards purely digital.
Okay, cool. Yes, all the purpose is to find good use cases and how to ask. What we say is like always how NFTs bring value to the art experience, and by default NFT are not always a solution, and through as you say, ownership and evolutive project connect for example the community and the artist through project evolution, new feature and rights to which the NFT give access. So yes, all is a question of use case. And if we talk about more global uses and concerns about Web3, if you can talk to us more about your activity, your professional activity, how is it connected to Web3, or what the importance of Web3? So who are you, Adrien? What is your job? What is your background?
Sure. So I spend time with I guess high growth scale-ups. You could call them startups, but they're more in the scale-up phase. So larger companies who've been in place for a bit more time than you'd imagine when you hear the word startup. Get to the next step in their growth journey by raising capital from usually international players. Basically, if you've succeeded in scaling in your country and you want to go international, that's where we usually try and help out and bring you a new investor base for your cap table. And I guess Web3 is kind of the next vertical where we're trying to focus on. Companies are still early stage in that segment, but as more and more of them grow, we're looking to be omnipresent there, because it's the next logical step in terms of what the I guess technology, the digital experience is. We've had a lot of success with Web2 companies. That's kind of the normality now, which maybe in the early 2000s wasn't the case. And I guess Web3 is the next step. I particularly spend a lot of time with gaming companies, and I think just in that segment, NFTs and Web3 is just a logical evolution for digital ownership of assets like skins or weapons for a video game, whatever you want. The capacity to actually be able to offer your player base something which is, I guess in a way, resellable and that has actual value, probably means that you'll have more people looking to purchase your microtransactions. And so I guess it's kind of the natural evolution, as I said, and we're looking forward to being able to work with companies in that space as they reach the maturity where we usually intervene.
Yeah, so it's all a question of maturity. It's still the early stage of this market. You talked about segment. Do you think that a company switching startup or traditional company pre-existing is more about switching segment and exploring new, for example, new product offer, etc., or the Web3 is just the logical continuity, or can be integrated like more in a logical suite of what they do as of now? How do you see, for example, the state of the market, the economy?
Yeah, well, I think
in 5 years, for example.
It's pretty obvious that for now it's going to be seen as a separate vertical where people will have to develop their expertise in it. I think where you want to bring capital to is probably companies that kind of build the infrastructure, allow the Web3 experience to kind of reach more of a Web2 user experience in a way. These people are going to be the core focus of investors. I'm pretty confident in that for the years to come. And then there's the next use cases which I think make the more sense, which probably are gaming, luxury, and art. And then maybe in 5-10 years it'll be so embedded in every single vertical that it will be just normal, and it would kind of be a bit absurd to have a Web3 vertical, like it's a bit absurd to say you have an internet vertical, I guess.
Okay, very clear. Thank you, Adrien. So would be my last question about the link between you, for example, and the Web3 still growing. What's the best way? How do you enter into contact with Web3 startups, founders, builders? For example, today, what's the best way to discover them?
I mean, it depends where you are, but like in a city like Paris, where the ecosystem is very developed and there's a lot of companies, it's pretty easy to kind of there's tons of events being organized. I think NFT Paris is the next one quite soon now. There's the NFT Summit as well in the summer. So just from that's a good place to get in, to meet companies. I know Sirats does quite a lot of builder meetups, which is a pretty good place to do it as well. And just in general,
good point.
Free advertising. No, but in general, I think it's still a young segment. Entrepreneurs are quite easy to reach out to. They have not become snobs yet, so I can still send out an email and get a response.
Perfect, thank you. So I think that's a very good analysis and insight from you to also democratize what you do and make it more understandable for everybody. The world of investment banking, for example, and the view of VCs and venture and growth expert as you are is not always very clear and democratized for people. So I think we understand more about it now. Thank you, Adrien, for answering to all it. If you had to add a last word in one word, whatever comes to your mind to conclude this talk. That's the most difficult question.
It is. I guess if I just one word, then I'll say bravo.
Bravo.
Yeah. No, what you've built so far is great, and looking forward to seeing more.
Cool. Wow. Thank you, Adrien, and hope we can talk and see in either in digital or physically better soon.
A pleasure. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Ciao.